This is the Less Insurance Dependence podcast show with my good friend Gary Takas and myself, Naren Raja.
We appreciate your listenership, your time, and most of all, we appreciate your intention to reduce insurance dependence in your practice. Our goal is to provide information that will help you successfully reduce insurance dependence and convert your practice into a thriving and profitable dental practice that provides you with personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast, the official podcast of the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy, www.rid.academy. Membership to the Academy is a gift from Gary and I in appreciation for your listenership. Visit rid.academy and do not forget to register. By registering, you will have access to all of our resources and a free pass to all of our events, including our annual summit. I am Naren, your co-host. Today's podcast is titled, When Should a Dentist Not Go Out of Network? Before we jump into today's podcast, I have a quick announcement to make. We have an event on the 8th of July, 2025. The topic is delivering next level patient care, creating positive experiences that keep them coming back. Go to thrivingdentist.com/events and do not forget to register. So it's 2 hours of CE, July 8th, delivering next level patient care, thrivingdentist.com events, and the date is July 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Gary, any comments on this event?
Yeah, I'm excited about that event coming up. Client service, patient service is an important aspect of successfully going out of network. And the great news is that many dental practices have set the bar pretty low in terms of patient service. So if you can be exceptional about how you provide, I'll use customer service, the business term. That's the term we're more familiar with. If you could provide great customer service to your patients, you're going to stand out from the crowd. And it's going to create an environment where patients don't want to go somewhere else because somewhere else they're going to be treated, much in a much less favorable customer service climate. So very important topic, and invite you all to come attend. Come join us. You'll get a lot out of that panel. We've invited some experts to share their perspective on what patient service looks like, what exceptional patient service looks like, and you're going to get lots of takeaway information. Come join us.
Absolutely. I think it'll be a great 2 hours. You're going to learn from a lot of experts and, of course, Gary, and you will be taking a lot of notes. So definitely don't miss it.
And they get 2 hours of CE, correct, Naren?
That is correct. 2 hours of CE on July 8th.
So you do need to register. You have to register to get your seat, but there is no tuition. That's a courtesy that we're providing to you and appreciation for your listenership. So go on thrivingdentist.com/events and register for that event, and look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. Let me jump into today's topic. When should a dentist not go out of network? I think it's a great topic because, yes, there are times, and I've heard you say this, Gary, where you have told people, looked them in the eye and said, you shouldn't do it. And I think it's a good idea to talk about what are those reasons and when have you told people. So if any of these are true for you, then you definitely should not go out of network. So I'm all ears, Gary. Let's jump right in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be the optimist that says, no, every dentist can go out of network. You all can do it. But in reality, if you step back and look at it objectively, it is not appropriate for every dentist to go out of network. It's not. And in some of those cases, it could be very detrimental to your practice, to go out of network.
I mean, so is it like they cannot ever go out of network, or at this moment they can't go out of network?
Well, I like to think of it more as a snapshot in time, where at this moment, their practice isn't strong enough it takes a strong practice. You think about when you're a network, a whole lot of things are easier, Naren, when you're a network. Hey, I have this free thing. Can I come to your office? Yeah, you can. Yeah. You don't have to have great phone skills. Hey, I got a free coupon for a cleaning. Can I come in? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Also, the likelihood they show up goes down,
Yeah.
which is ironic because although it's free, they place that much value in it that's free.
Right.
But everything's harder. You've got to communicate more effectively. You've got to have more technology. You have to have more advanced clinical skills. You have to have a team that actually cares about your patients. You have to have a lot of things in place to successfully do this. You've got to have marketing in place. So, if you don't have those things, it doesn't mean you couldn't ever go out of network. But it might be something you want to think hard about whether you're prepared and whether you've done the foundational work to be able to go out of network. So let me list just a few reasons among many when a dentist should not go out of network. I've got 5 that we're going to talk about in this episode. So let me number them 1 through 5. They're not numbered in order, but each one has, in my opinion, equal weighting. But I'll number them. So number 1 is if the practice is transaction based, if it's a transaction based practice. Naren, when I say the term transaction based, what does that mean to you?
Transaction basis, another way I would describe it is tooth dentistry, where they just come in, fix this, fix that. You're almost like you go to those, I remember those places where you go to, fix your iPhone or buy an iPhone cover. You have seen those in your malls, kind of dingy and, in the corner of somewhere where it's not easy to find, tiny off place. And
Yeah.
this guy doing stuff. That is, to me, is a transaction. I have a problem and, if and when I have it, I come there, I get it done. I never see you forever in my life. To me, that's
it's kind of like Naren. I know you're not a car guy. I know you don't get cars.
Yes.
But if you're a car guy, and if you're not a car guy, and you have an internal combustion car, not a toaster like you have, Naren, but if you have an internal combustion engine car that needs its oil change, you might go to the quickie oil change. Okay,
Right.
that's
right.
transact. But
transaction.
You don't take your 1965 Porsche 911 to be restored at quickie oil change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different. It's different.
Yeah.
And so what's a transaction-based practice? It's populated. It's just a transaction. But patients probably don't even know the dentist's name. Dentist certainly doesn't know the patient's name. It's just, I have a toothache, fix it, I'm out of here. Or I need my teeth cleaned. Let me do it. It doesn't matter who does it. Let me just have my teeth cleaned. I've got a free cleaning coupon. If I can use it in your office, that's good. Now,
and it's usually about price and convenience. And in this case, it's free, great price, and convenient. Known devil, he'll do it for free. So who cares?
Yeah. And if you look at it on a spectrum, with one end of the spectrum being relationship driven and the other end of the spectrum being transaction based, the reality is rarely is a practice purely one or the other, but you fall somewhere in that range from being more relationship driven to being more transactional. But if you have a transactional practice, you make changes to be more relationship. What could we do? Simple things like starting to recognize patients' name. You don't have to know all your patients at all time by name, but you need to know the ones you're seeing today. And maybe it's doing an interview as part of the new patient experience to get to know them a little bit better, to learn more about their dental history. And now you're starting to move over to the more relationship-driven practice. And you don't have to be completely relationship-driven, but the more you are, the more successful you're going to be when you go out of network, because people don't want to leave a practice when they're being taken care of by people who they know, like, and trust.
Right.
So one reason not to do it is if you have a transaction-based practice. And maybe, doctor, it might be hard for you to see it, but maybe you could step back and try to look at your practice like it was a colleague's practice. And what do you see? If you can be objective about it, what do you see? More relationship driven, more transaction. And I'll tell you something. Here's a quick test. How do you determine that? So I'm going to say this, doctor. Here's a quick test you could do. Name 5 patients in your practice without looking in the chart in your digital records who are school teachers. Name 5 people in your practice by name who are first responders, policemen, firemen, paramedics. Name 5 people in your practice without looking who own their own business. Name 5 people in your practice who are retired. And I don't say you have to do all those. I did this recently with a potential client. And I asked him, how relationship driven do you think your practice is? And he said, we're not perfect. We can improve, but I think we're pretty good at that. And I said, do you mind if I test you? He said, sure. And he failed all of those examples. So can you name 5 school teachers? And he started to, and then he started thinking, well, she's in her 30s. She teaches 5th grade. No name. Can you name 5 first responders? Yeah. No. Can you name 5 people that own their own business? No. 5 retirees. And then he said, well, I guess I'm not as relationship driven as I thought I was. There's a quick test. See how you do. And I just chose those randomly. I could choose other categories. And I'm asking without looking in your record. Second reason when you would not want to go out of network is if the practice does not provide distinct reasons to the public on why they should choose your office for their care. The public understands. You're not giving reasons to people to choose you. What might those be? What might be some reasons that people would want to choose your practice?
Yeah. So, I think I really want to kind of emphasize something you said, Gary, on the first point, which is if it is transactional, people can go anywhere, right? And if you're going to be honest and if you're willing to tell each other the truth, the only reason they're coming to you is because you're free. That's it. I'm being blunt, right? Because why would they pay premium dollars and expect wonderful things when they see you as a transaction, just the bare minimum? Like I get
when they see dentistry as a commodity.
Yeah.
But here's some reasons why people might want to come to you. You have technology.
Right.
You have technology, and there's many people that associate technology with a higher level of care. You have a range of treatment options. Maybe not everything, but
I do think relationship driven is the number one reason, right? Like if I were to
all these could be good reasons.
Right.
Maybe you offer, more of a one-stop shop where patients can have many of their dental needs met, under one roof. I'm not a fan of convenient hours, but convenient hours would be a way to give a patient reason to choose you. The reason I don't like the evenings and Saturdays is that it goes against the grain in terms of trying to establish a work-life balance between you and also your team members. But that could be another reason why people might want to choose. Maybe it's an orientation of practice. Maybe it's a more biological practice, that is more naturopathic and maybe more holistic in terms of treatment. Maybe it's people that want that. Maybe it's a practice that has a focus, a general dentistry, but does some really nice cosmetic dentistry. Maybe it's an office that has a service like Invisalign because people are interested in straightening, crowding or spaces. So you got to give people reason to come. If you can step back and say, are we giving people a reason to choose you other than it says dentist on the sign, then maybe we got to start working on what those could be. Third reason is doctor and team members don't have the communication skills to talk to their patients about going out of network. The easy way out, and read my lips on this one, guys, do not do this. Do not do this. The worst thing you could do in going out of network is simply send your patients a letter saying you're going out of network. Worst thing you could possibly. We have to clean up that mess all the time in my coaching because the office, they took the easy way out. They just sent the letter. What do we need instead? You have to actually talk to your patients face to face. You got to talk to them about what you're doing. And if you can't do that and your team members can't do it, stay in network. Now, I can train you. I can train your team members to do that, but we've got to have the willingness to talk to your patients. Sadly, some offices can't do that. Number 4, you have no marketing in place to replace the people you're going to lose when you go out of network. That's your world, Naren. But you know how true that is.
Yes.
You've got no marketing, you're going to lose patients.
Yeah.
Do we have marketing in place that will replace them with people that are choosing you for reasons other than you're, on their PPO plan?
And by the way, if somebody needs marketing help, I would recommend booking a marketing strategy meeting. And the link for that is thrivingdentist.com/MSM. So book the marketing strategy meeting and definitely, lean in, because I agree. Because if you go out of network and you're not replacing those patients you're going to lose, then your business is going to shrink and you're going to get nervous and stressed out.
Yeah. And then fifth, and I think all these are important, but this one certainly is important. I might even put it as number one if I'm asked, if I'm pressed. Doctor and team members do not believe it can be done. They don't believe it. If you don't believe it, if it doesn't come out of your pores that you're making the best decision you could make for your patients, then this simply isn't going to work. And it's that Henry Ford quote, believe that you can, believe that you can't. Either way, you're right. You've got to believe it. And sadly, there are, when they're on these, there's many private Facebook groups on Facebook with some of them quite large. And one of the most common topics discussed in those private dentist Facebook groups are, does it make any sense to go out of network? And what do you think the members of those private groups say, Naren? What do you think they say generally?
It can't be done.
Oh, no, worst mistake you could ever make.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I think it's like we become used to what's around us, right? Like, if everyone around us is, certain way, like, then we become like them. And you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. But there are the opposite perspective from dentists in those Facebook groups. Best thing I ever did. You should consider it, but you got to have some help and you've got to have the right plan.
I would recommend anyone who's serious to join the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy, RID.academy, because we have more than 1,500 members now, and they all are gung-ho on, kicking the PPO plans to the curb and, finding their own independence. And some have finished the journey and many are in the middle and some are just starting out. So you will find someone.
The power of belief is amazing.
Yeah.
Some of you know, if you've been a regular listener, Less Insurance Dependence podcast, I'm a runner. I'm a distance runner. I do marathons, half marathons, and triathlons. And one of the coolest records in track and field history was the first runner to break the 4-minute barrier in the mile. Roger Bannister did that on May 8th. So around the time we're recording this, 1954, May 8th, 1954. And until then, sports psychologists, physicians believed that it couldn't be done, that the lungs couldn't carry enough oxygen, that someone could run that fast for that period of time to break the 4-minute mile. And then he did it. And he ran it on May 8th, 1954, 3 minutes, 59 seconds. I think it was 3:59.4. So he beat it by, a hundredth of a second, a few hundredths of a second. And then the sports world was absolutely just jubilant about that. And then within 2 months, 3 other men broke the 4-minute mile. Why did they break it? Because they now knew it could be done. And so I have some encouraging history. I have some encouraging comment related to that. In my coaching work, we've helped over 400 practices in all 50 states, in every practice environment, do that. We've broken the 4-minute mile over using the analogy. We broke the 4-minute mile over 400 times. So if it's been done before, it must be possible. But if you don't believe it, don't bother doing it. Don't bother sticking your toe in the water. You don't resign from PPO plans by sticking your toe in the water. You got to be all in. But belief is a powerful part of the whole equation. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this Less Insurance Dependence podcast. If you'd like to talk with me personally about whether it's appropriate for you, or maybe you have some of these but would like to work on others, schedule a coaching strategy meeting with me, thrivingdentist.com/CSM. That'll open up my calendar. Pick a time that works for you. You'll meet with me on Zoom, and we'll sort this out. And I won't be shy. I'll tell you if I don't think it makes any sense, because I don't want failures. But also tell you if you think you could do it. Anyway, come join us. On that note, thanks for the privilege of your time. Naren and I look forward to connecting with you on the next Less Insurance Dependence podcast.